Calling all Euro nerds. We're tying on a jig. So today we're tying the France fly. So this is a cool little Euro bug, definitely aptly named because it comes from the competition world where a lot of that was developed over in Europe with the Tightline nymphing, the bead heads, the jig flies, all that good stuff. This is a good one to have. It's a nice little nymph pattern that can be really adjusted easily to fit a wide range of mayfly nymphs. So today we're doing a little bit of a brown and olive combination here. And we'll spin one up for you. So we got our hook locked down in our vise here. This is a good old Hanak competition hook, the H400BL. On the side I think it's just 400, the classic 400. So it's a very traditional jig style profile. It's got that 60-degree eye on it with a barbless, pretty standard gape there overall. So just a great little go-to jig hook for a whole variety of Euro style, jig style flies. And then I'm using some Spyder thread from Semperfli. It's a great thread for these because it's an 18/0, so it's a very small gauge thread. And the color's really nice as well on it. Can kind of go one of two ways when you're tying Euro bugs, at least from what I've found. You can either go with a larger thread that might lay nice and flat, or a little bit of a smaller gauge thread that you have to be a little more disciplined with your thread wraps on. So maybe a preference thing there, and I sort of go back and forth sometimes, but this is a really good option if you're trying to keep some slim profile bugs. So the next thing we're going to do is put in our tailing there. I started to get ahead of myself and was going to tie in the tubing, but we got to put in our tailing first. And this is just some whiting, Coque de Leon, of course, so very traditional tailing material for your Euro flies, widely used in a whole lot of different patterns. Comes in a variety of colors as well. This is the light Pardo today that I'm using. There's dyed options if you want something that's got a little bit more of a color pop, something that's going to be an attractor. But this light Pardo is a pretty nice natural that works really well on this color combination that I'm spinning up here. So we're just going to grab a small bundle of those, trying to keep those tips somewhat aligned. They don't have to be perfect. Nothing in nature is going to be exactly square anyhow. So we'll secure that here on the side of the hook and roll it over top so that it's right on top. Couple of wraps there, and then we'll get our tail to the right length, right about the length of that hook shank, maybe a little bit shorter sometimes. And then we can cover that up and work our way forward, keeping it nice and even. And trim out our extra material here. Get that bead back in place. Sometimes this fly is weighted, so just depending on what kind of water you're fishing more than anything. If you need a heavier variation, you can throw some leather wraps right in front of it. You can change your bead size as well. I'm pretty true to size on this one. This is a 16 and it's a 3/32 copper bead, slotted copper bead there. So you can always oversize that if you need to get a little more weight, get down deeper quicker. But pretty light profile, so it should sink pretty good. There's not too much resistance in this fly. So it definitely caters itself nicely to Euro rigs. And then the next thing I'm going to tie in here is a little bit of the tubing. So this is the hollow tubing from Hareline. I have the rust color today, and I'm going to secure that in pretty close to the thorax. But what I'm going to do to try and keep a nice thin profile is stretch it real good as I wrap rearward. Minimize my bulk on it overall, but it's going to be nice and secured in there. And then we can wrap right on back to where that thorax is going to be. And And then we'll bring it on forward. So you can sort of play with this a little bit as well as far as the tension that you throw down. On the back side, I like to keep it nice and tight. And then as you go forward, if you want to sort of loosen your grip a little bit, that'll help create a slight taper to the fly. And this is the Midge size that I'm using today. So it's good on a size 16. If you wanted to go smaller with this bug, you could. You might want to go with the micro size. And then if you're tying it larger, I think it's the standard size is the next size up if you need to do it on a bigger fly. But we're just going to wrap that forward again, sort of creating a slight taper to it, but again, a small profiled fly here. So we'll capture that up behind the bead. Clip our tubing out. Don't stretch it too much because it'll sneak right back underneath there and run away from you. And then we're going to throw some dubbing. So this is a great classic dubbing, of course, our Hares ear dubbing. And just a dyed olive. It's actually the Hares ear Plus. So you get a lot of those kind of guard fibers in the Hares ear Plus, which I like a lot. Makes a nice buggy material. You can hopefully see that there. All those hairs that are mixed in with the underfur makes for a great nymphy buggy material. Super, super simple little fly, but one that will definitely put a lot of fish in the net for you, especially if you have a variety of these in a lot of different color options. That tubing comes in a world of options, from clear all the way to black and everything in between. So you can really kind of play around and get whatever you need. Same's true for the dubbing. There's a lot of options out there for this dubbing color. The Hares ear Plus has a lot of color options. So you can make some killer little bugs for your waterway. Now we got our collar on there. All we got to do is whip finish it. So again, this is a great little fly in a Euro rig, but can also be dropped under an indicator. Would be a great fly as well in a dropper rig if you want to throw a hopper on top and drag this underneath. It's a perfect little bug for that scenario. I just really find jig flies are pretty versatile in that sense. They're built a lot of times to be Euro specific flies, but they can be fished in a lot of different types of rigs. So this one, play around with it, fish it in different ways, see how it works for you. But a nice little bug to have in your box ready to go. The France fly. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give us a like. Throw a comment below if you got a suggestion on what you'd like to see us tie in the future. And share it with a friend that might need to tie these bugs up for you so you don't have to. Appreciate it.